Yankees fans gather around because the Bronx has been buzzing with movement, speculation, and a whole lot of decisions that could reshape the future of the team. The offseason has barely begun, and yet the front office has already set several pieces in motion, showing that this is not going to be a period of waiting and patience, but one of direct adjustments and bold choices. And the first major development involves a name that many fans might not even have on their radar, but who could become an important factor in the team's depth: Jonathan Ornelas. The infielder arrives on a minor league agreement, and even though it is a smaller-scale deal on paper, it already carries several layers of discussion regarding what the Yankees are truly planning for their infield. The agreement includes that highly sought-after non-roster invitation to Major League spring training, which means he will have a chance to show his value against established players. It is not just a symbolic opportunity, because he has a clause allowing him to leave the organization midway through the season if he is not added to the 40-man roster. That makes it clear that Ornelas has no intention of simply accumulating miles in the minors. He wants to prove he can compete for a real spot, maybe even surprising everyone as an unexpected piece when the season opens. Now, his recent track record is a mix of curiosity and caution. He spent last year between the Rangers and the Braves, spending most of the time at the Triple-A level and facing clear struggles at the plate. He had nearly 400 plate appearances with numbers that did not draw much attention, including a batting average in the 200s, an on-base percentage just under the 300s, and very limited power. Meanwhile, his brief stint in the majors did not shine much either. In a little over 30 games spread across the last 3 seasons, he put up modest defensive numbers and still has not recorded his first home run. But if the offensive output does not stand out, what is driving the Yankees' interest? Here is the answer: defense, versatility, and the ability to play multiple positions with confidence. Ornelas has logged more than 3,500 innings in the minors at shortstop, along with experience at second base, third base, and even some time in the outfield. This kind of versatility is gold for a team that needs to balance its roster while dealing with injuries, tactical adjustments, and possible changes before the season begins. With the Yankees' current infield situation affected by Anthony Volpe's recovery from shoulder surgery, the group needs depth that goes beyond the obvious. The current projection places Jose Caballero as the immediate candidate for the shortstop role while the team waits for Volpe's full recovery. Around him, the bench includes names like Braden Shoemake, Jorbit Vivas, and Oswaldo Cabrera. Shoemake is the only natural shortstop among them, and he is also coming off a mediocre Triple-A showing. The front office has already made it clear it does not intend to begin the season relying solely on these options, which opens a real opportunity for someone like Ornelas to break through. It is not an exaggeration to say this is one of the rare situations where a player with struggles at the plate can still earn a legitimate chance thanks to his defensive specialty. For Ornelas, this move represents a door that is cracked open, but far from guaranteed. He will need to show defensive consistency right away and, more importantly, some sign of improvement at the plate. For the Yankees, however, the risk is almost non-existent. If he does not stand out, it does not hurt the budget, does not interrupt planning, and does not prevent other moves. But if he surprises them by bringing defensive security at a moment when the team desperately needs it, he could become an important find within a roster that is trying to reorganize itself intelligently. As the details of this first move continue to be discussed, Ornelas joins a list of calculated bets the Yankees have made in recent years, always looking for defenders capable of covering several parts of the field. And now, with important questions surrounding who will start at shortstop, who will step in immediately behind him, and how the team will fill the gaps until Volpe returns, this signing carries more weight than it might seem at first glance. The infield has gone through turbulent stretches recently, and any player capable of bringing defensive stability will certainly earn close attention from the coaching staff. What stands out is that the opening moves of the offseason do not involve big names or massive contracts, but instead an attempt to build a solid foundation so that the rest of the roster reconstruction makes sense. And when we talk about rebuilding, subtle changes often reveal far more about what is happening internally than the splashy announcements. If Ornelas can prove he is a reliable piece, Even in situational roles, he could join the group of players who begin the season as emergency options, but end up becoming key contributors during moments of greatest need. And this is how the Yankees begin their first steps in this offseason, balancing smaller moves, huge waves of speculation, and decisions that could completely shape the team for the upcoming year. Ornelas' arrival opens a discussion far beyond his individual presence. It points to the depth strategy the team is trying to build while preparing for possible major changes in the offense and the rotation as the negotiation period unfolds. And as we move forward with everything happening around Palmeiras, there's another layer to this whole scenario that really deserves attention. Because while the fans are focused on the upcoming matches and the expectations for what Indrick, Flaco Lopez, and the rest of the squad could deliver, behind the scenes the club is working nonstop. These aren't just adjustments for the short term. These are structural movements, decisions that define not only the next few weeks, but the next few years of the club. And every time we think the board has slowed down or taken a breather, another piece of information comes up showing that the planning is active, intense, and fully focused on keeping Palmeiras competitive at the highest level. One of the big points is the internal conversation about how to manage the transition from Indrick's departure to the new cycle. Because although everybody celebrates his brilliance and the impact he still has while wearing the Palmeiras shirt, the coaching staff knows that when he leaves for Europe, the team will need to reinvent itself again. That means redefining offensive patterns, adjusting movements, and maybe even bringing in someone new, depending on what the market offers. There's a lot of talk about whether Palmeiras will go after another central forward or if the idea is to strengthen the wings, giving more power to the counterattacks that Abel Ferreira uses so well. And this decision isn't just technical. It's also financial and strategic because the club is very responsible with its money. They don't spend randomly. They don't bring in names for the sake of hype. Every step is calculated. Inside the training center, the atmosphere is extremely competitive. Players who didn't have much space earlier in the season are now fighting hard to be noticed. Some of them know they might be loaned out. Others know that a good performance now could secure them a spot in the main group for the next competitions. Abel loves this kind of internal dispute. He has said 1,000 times that competition within the squad raises the overall level, and right now the intensity in training reflects exactly that. Several players are pushing themselves because they know the coach observes everything. Even those not starting have a chance to change their situation if they impress at the right moment. And it's impossible not to talk about the fans because the expectation surrounding the next matches is growing fast. Palmeiras supporters can be tough, demanding, and intense, but they are also extremely loyal. When the team is performing well, the Allianz Parque becomes a fortress. The noise, the energy, the pressure, everything blends into a perfect environment for the players to give that extra bit of strength when fatigue hits. The club knows this, and that's why marketing is also working hard, planning actions to keep the supporters closer and more engaged. The idea is to maintain high attendance, especially in the decisive moments, because everyone knows how essential the crowd becomes when the tension peaks. Meanwhile, the conversations about renewals continue. Some players have contracts ending soon, and even though there's no drama behind the scenes, the management wants to settle everything calmly. Palmeiras is always very careful when it comes to renewals. They analyze the player's physical condition, contribution to the team, long-term potential, and of course the financial impact. That's why some negotiations take time. It's normal. It's part of the process. The important thing is that there is alignment. Nobody wants surprises or rushed decisions. The idea is to keep the core structure stable, especially considering how many matches and competitions the calendar forces the team into every year. Another matter that has also been circulating is the possibility of new young prospects from the academy gaining more minutes soon. Palmeiras has one of the strongest youth systems in all of Brazil, and the coaching staff always keeps an eye on players coming up. Some names are already being tested in training sessions with the main squad, and depending on how things go in the Campeonato Paulista, we may see some of these kids given real opportunities. And you already know how it is. When a young talent appears in Palmeiras, the whole country starts paying attention because history has proven how many stars have emerged from this academy. Off the field, however, the club is monitoring the political environment closely. With elections approaching and different groups positioning themselves, Palmeiras wants to prevent any disturbance from affecting the football department. Everyone knows that when politics mixes too much with football, especially inside a big club, the consequences on performance can be serious. So far, though, everything is under control. The board is aligned, communication is clear, and Abel has full autonomy to continue his work without interference, which is something he values deeply. Speaking of Abel, his mentality remains one of the key pillars. Even in moments with pressure, even with speculation floating around about possible interest from foreign clubs, he stays focused. He knows the supporters love him, he knows the squad trusts him, and he knows the project is solid. But of course, rumors always appear, and they always create noise. Still, every time Abel goes to the press conference and speaks calmly, confidently, explaining everything with detail and passion, it gives the fans reassurance. And that's crucial at this stage of the season. The club is also paying attention to the physical condition of the squad, because with so many matches ahead, managing fatigue is essential. The medical and performance departments are working intensely on recovery protocols, nutrition plans, and individual monitoring. Some players might be preserved in certain matches, depending on the physical data. Abel has said many times that he prefers losing a player for one game rather than losing him for a whole month, and that philosophy guides several decisions. So as we follow all these developments, you can see that Palmeiras is entering a decisive period. It's not just about the next match or the next goal. It's about the project as a whole, about maintaining stability, and about knowing that every detail matters when you want to stay among the best. The team has challenges, sure, but it also has structure, planning, quality, and unity. And that combination is exactly what makes this moment so exciting. Because when Palmeiras works like this, organized, focused, and emotionally strong, the chances of success grow a lot. The Bronx feels electric, uneasy, and full of expectation. The outfield is crowded, the infield has holes, the pitching staff needs reinforcements, and the possibility of a superstar arriving via trade or free agency hangs in the air. Every development becomes another piece of this intricate chess match, and each move brings us closer to the version of the Yankees that will take the field when a new season opens. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. A new murmur has been drifting through league circles, and it's growing louder by the hour. Logan Webb, the steady heartbeat of San Francisco's rotation, is being whispered as the newest object of desire in the Bronx. Nothing has been confirmed, no executives have gone on record, yet the chatter refuses to die down. It's the kind of rumor that feels too bold to ignore and too wild to completely trust, which is exactly why it has set off a flurry of speculation across the baseball world. Yankees insiders, those familiar shadows always hovering around potential blockbusters, are said to be pushing the front office to make an aggressive move for a frontline arm. And Webb, with his calm demeanor and bulldog competitiveness, reportedly sits at the top of that secret wish list. The idea of him stepping onto the mound beneath the bright New York lights has created a surge of excitement among fans who have long craved a rotation anchor with both durability and swagger. Across the country, the Giants camp is playing things characteristically quiet, but even that silence has sparked interpretative chaos. Some believe it signals confidence that nothing serious is brewing. Others claim the stillness is simply the calm before negotiations erupt behind closed doors. A few rival executives have even suggested that the Yankees could be preparing an offer that makes you blink, the kind that forces a team to at least pick up the phone. There's also the emotional layer. Webb, a homegrown Giant, deeply connected to the Bay Area and admired for his leadership. Could San Francisco truly part with its ace? Or is this nothing more than big market imagination running wild? The uncertainty has turned every small remark, every offhand comment, every harmless scouting assignment into fuel for speculation. For now, it remains only a buzz, persistent, tantalizing, and impossible to sweep aside. The Bronx may be dreaming big, but until someone steps forward with truth instead of whispers, all that exists is a rumor swirling through the league. Logan Webb, possibly, maybe, somehow, on the Yankees' radar. And that alone is enough to keep the baseball world on edge. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.